Just as Manet was emerging as an independent artist, Paris was struck down by a debilitating illness. Indeed, the whole of France seemed suddenly to succumb to it.
The illness made you twitchy and excitable. It quickened the pulse and sweated the brow. Hispanomania, it was called, a mad passion for all things Spanish.
Spanish art, Spanish song, Spanish dance, Spanish storylines, Spanish tears, Spanish bloodlust. The French were obsessed with all of them.
Napoleon III had a Spanish wife, the beautiful Empress Eugenie, so that was definitely part of it.
Rumour had it that the Empress would sometimes go to fancy dress balls in a matador's costume. No hot-blooded French male could resist the thought of that. Spanish art was also being rediscovered at the time. Velázquez, Murillo, Goya. Their work was so dark and gutsy, so tangible, so direct, so utterly unlike the billowing pink mythologies favoured by French art.
Manet had encountered Spanish art at the Louvre when he was in Couture's studio. He was devoted to Velázquez and had learned much of his directness from him. And that confrontational air you get in his pictures, that feeling that his art is going mano a mano with you, that was inherited from Spanish art as well.
Spain may only have been just across the border from France, but emotionally, it was another world. And it spoke to something deep inside Manet.
On the outside, he was notoriously dapper, always impeccably turned out, with his yellow gloves and his walking stick. And you can tell from the pictures of him painted by his friends that he gave very little away.
He was buttoned up, secretive, elegant and proper. But one of my suspicions about Manet is that beneath this dapper exterior, he was surprisingly emotional and tender.
And this emotional inner life of his primed him to respond to Spanishness and led him to some peculiar and fascinating early art.
The Spanish guitarist caught open-mouthed in mid-song. Manet's brother Gustave as a snake-hipped Maho with something of the wolf about him. And this curious female bullfighter pushed out unconvincingly among the bulls in a strange clash of realities.
In 1862, an exuberant troupe of Spanish singers and dancers arrived in Paris from Madrid to perform at the Hippodrome. Their star was one Lola Melea, who sang and danced under the glorious stage name of Lola de Valence.
Lola, la 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 Lola. She drove the French mad. Manet's friend, the poet Zachary Astruc, wrote a very bad song about her, and Manet himself painted her on stage, so unexpectedly.
It's such a forlorn picture. Lola de Valence, the crowd behind her, dressed up to the nines in her colourful Spanish costume, with her fan, her mantilla. But when you look at her face, instead of excitement or the energy you'd expect to see there, there's sadness instead, and introspection.
Lola was to be the first of Manet's forlorn modern heroines, his thinking women. Spanish art taught him to mistrust appearances and probe further. Beneath the blur of the castanets and the bang, bang, bang of the dancing feet, there was always something deeper going on, something more intense and pressing.
te tiro yo el